You know, it's one of the most unsettling ideas in the entire Bible. How could someone seem so spiritually powerful? I mean, preaching, doing miracles, running a huge ministry, and then, at the very end, hear God say, "I never knew you"? It just makes you stop and ask, if all that stuff doesn't count, what on earth does?
Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to start with some of the most shocking words Jesus ever said. They paint this picture of the final judgment, and believe me, it does not go the way you'd expect. I mean, just listen to that resume. It's incredible. These are not people who are sitting on the sidelines. We're talking prophesying, casting out demons, doing mighty works, and they did it all in Jesus' name. These were the performers, the frontline people. They had serious power.
And then this. It's a total gut punch. The rejection isn't because they messed up or because they didn't do enough. The reason is so simple and so deeply personal. I never knew you. It had nothing to do with their performance. It had everything to do with a lack of relationship.
So that just leaves us with this massive question, right? If a spiritual resume packed with power and ministry isn't the thing, then what is God actually looking for? What's the real, genuine evidence that he recognizes?
Well, the key to unlocking this whole mystery is a distinction the Bible makes that, honestly, so many people seem to miss. It turns out that not all works are seen the same way. The scriptures lay out two totally different categories.
And check this out. This is what solves the puzzle. On one hand, you've got what the Bible calls the fruit of faith. This is stuff like love, holiness, generosity. It's the universal proof of a changed life, and it's expected from every single believer. But then, on the other hand, you have ministry gifts. Things like preaching, healing, miracles. These are specific roles for some people. See the difference? It's huge. One is about who you are. The other is about what you do.
And here is the absolute kicker. The Bible flat out warns us that those ministry gifts, the power, the performance, can actually exist without a real saving faith. But you know what? It never, not once, gives that same warning about the fruit of the Spirit, like love or patience or kindness. That fruit, that's considered the reliable proof.
And this isn't just some clever theory. It's a theme that runs through the entire Bible. From beginning to end, the focus always starts with the inner person. It starts with the heart. This verse really sets the stage for everything. Way before Jesus even walked the earth, this principle was locked in. We humans, we get impressed by the show, right? The outward appearance, the big performance. But God's gaze just cuts right through all of that, straight to the source, the heart.
So you see, there's a flow here, an order to things. It's not a choice of heart or works, it's a sequence. It all begins with a real, genuine change of heart. That new heart then starts producing love, which naturally leads to obedience. And it's only then, at the end of the chain, that good works show up as the natural evidence of what's already happened on the inside.
Now let's be super clear here. This does not mean that faith is a workless thing. The Bible is pretty blunt that faith without works is dead. But it's also not a works-based religion. We don't do good works to get saved. We do them because we are saved. They are the evidence, not the cause.
So, if we're not known by our impressive ministry gifts, how are we known? Well, Jesus gave us the perfect metaphor, and it's what this whole thing is about. You know a tree by its fruit.
Okay, this definition right here is absolutely everything. Biblical fruit is not a checklist of your accomplishments. It's not how many sermons you gave or events you organized. Fruit is the actual character of God being formed inside of a person. It's evidence of an inner nature, not a record of outward activity. And here's what that character actually looks like. It's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. You notice? These aren't flashy one-time events. They are the quiet, consistent, day-in, day-out qualities of a person who is truly being changed from the inside out.
This is such a game changer. Fruit isn't about trying harder. It's about being different. Think about it. A healthy apple tree doesn't strain and grunt to pop out an apple. It just produces apples. Why? Because that's its nature. In the exact same way, a person who is truly connected to God will naturally produce this kind of fruit. It reveals who they've become.
So that brings us to the final, and really the most important piece of this whole puzzle. Where does this new nature, this fruit, even come from? Well, the answer has nothing to do with us trying harder or being more religious. And there it is, straight from Jesus himself. He's the vine, we're the branches. A branch can't produce a single grape on its own. It bears fruit by one thing and one thing only, staying connected to the vine and letting life flow into it. So bearing fruit isn't about what we do for God, it's about what God does in us because we're connected to Him.
And this, right here, is the great secret that ties it all together. God's priority is always, always union before usefulness. It's relationship before role. It's about who you are being way before it's about what you are doing. That's the simple, profound truth that those people with all the power, but none of the fruit, completely missed.
Let's just circle back for a second to where we started, that shocking scene. You know, the single most chilling word in that entire warning from Jesus is many. Not a few, not some outliers, many. Many will stand there on that final day holding up their impressive resume of religious performance, only to find out it wasn't what mattered at all.
So what does this all mean for you and me, right here, right now? It means we have to completely reframe the main question we ask ourselves about our spiritual lives. We have to stop looking in the mirror and just counting up our accomplishments.
The ultimate question is not, what have I done for God? It's not about building a spiritual resume. The real question, the one that gets right to the very heart of everything, is this: do I live from Him? Is my life the product of my own sweat and effort, or is it the natural overflow of my connection to the vine? Because in the end, that's the only thing that produces the kind of fruit that lasts.